Set, let's go. Trigonometry, bro. I know you know. I go psycho when I see a triangle. You just can't sit. You gotta get tricky with it. That's it. 3 angles, 3 sides. Trig, all up in my eye. Soka, Toa, will tell you where to go. You just gotta know about H and O. Everybody looking at a glance at the box. The H while B is sitting across. Theta, theta.
Hey, I like that song, Mr. G. Why'd you stop? Guys, come on. I can't play the whole video. It's in your email. We're starting trigonometry today. My favorite lesson. It's just not quite the same. I can't do it in the classroom. This is my classroom. Mi casa es su casa. It's we're just doing this online learning thing, I guess. Whatever. So, what do we got on our slate today, Mr. G? Well, that's why I'm here. Hope you like my Cleveland Cavalier attire. This is LeBron James round 1 in Cleveland right out of high school. By the way, if you didn't know, I was actually at LeBron James's first ever NBA playoff game in Cleveland against the Washington Wizards in a victorious triple-double effort by LeBron James. For those of you that don't know anything about basketball, you can completely ignore that information about Mr. G. Anyway, here's the agenda today, guys. Prayer, announcements, attendance. We're going to be doing that prayer right after this. You have a quiz on special right triangles, 20 points on Google Forms. I've already sent you the answers to the homework, so hopefully you're prepared. It was not multiple choice. If you have not taken this quiz yet, pause this video and go take it, please. It's got to be done by 3 o'clock. All right, so it's a quiz, not an assignment. So it's a quiz, so this is like a class. So make sure you have that quiz in by 3 o'clock. And then you can go into our lesson on trig. All right, it's going to be a video. I will send you the link to finish that song that I started this video with of Getting Triggy With It. It is actually at Westerville South High School, which is a suburb of Columbus, Ohio. Everybody's one of you guys' favorite cities is Columbus, Ohio. You know why? Because the Buckeyes play there, right? And then after that, once we start trig, we're just going to start the basics. Right, and it's going to be identifying the opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse, and that's it. All right, slow and steady wins the race here, and then you'll have a homework assignment on Desmos, like before. Okay, so otherwise that's what we're doing today, right? And that Desmos activity is due at 10 o'clock the night before your next class. Again, if you have any issues with anything, please make sure you are asking me questions. All right, so let's pray. Let's begin in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, enter into our hearts right now. Please pray for all these students that are watching this video remotely. Please pray for all those who might be struggling during this time. All students everywhere. All teachers, just everybody in the world, as we're affected by this coronavirus. So help us all grow in love to each other, but also most importantly in love with you, who is in control of everything. So please help us, not blame you for anything, but claim you in all the good that you do and all the good that you're bringing out of the coronavirus situation. So help us be patient and know that in whenever it's your time, it's your time. And so we've all been very humbled throughout this experience. So help us continue to strive in faith and virtue and be there for each other as support in community and fellowship. So in your name, we lift up all the prayers and all the intentions that everybody is mentioning on the Google form attendance sheet. And we just like to give praise and glory to you through the intercession of your mother, Mary, who brought you into this world over 2,000 years ago. By praying, remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary, that never was it known that anyone who fled to thy protection, implored thy help, or sought thy intercession was left unaided. Inspired with this confidence, I fly unto thee, O Virgin of Virgin, my mother. To thee do I come, before thee I stand, sinful and sorrowful. O Mother of thy Word incarnate, despise not our petitions, but in thy mercy hear and answer us. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and Spirit, amen. All right. Cleveland! Cleveland! Okay. Let's see. So again, hopefully you got your quiz in. I think it was 10 questions, 2 points each. Make sure you type them in correctly. If you have not taken them in, I've not taken it yet. So if your answer is 5 square root of 3, you actually got to type 5 square root of 3 out. But yeah, that is your quiz, and that's the first thing on the agenda. The second thing on the agenda after announcements and prayer and stuff like that. Make sure you're keeping up with your grades, guys. And I need to do that as well, as far as homeworks and stuff like that goes. So, but the main portion of your grade is going to be these quiz scores and test scores. So, I just gotta trust that you're doing the homework. I had a great video meeting with Bailey and Jenny this past weekend, and we just sat down and had a tutoring session for about an hour, just helping out with radicals and square roots and 45 90s and 30 60 90s. So you can all be doing that if you want. Just you gotta take the initiative like they are, to seek out assistance. So I will help, and it's going well for them. So thank you, Bailey and Jenny, for doing that. I also had one last week with Sydney. So I'll help you. You just got to make sure you ask and help yourself as well. Otherwise, I don't know. So after this, so now that you've taken your quiz, you're going to go into Get Triggy with it. Go ahead and watch that video. We're going to kind of use that. I'm going to use that video as a way to kind of go through this section of trigonometry. Sorry. And then after that, we are going to, so watch that video, just the first part of it. I already said in your email, or in the email of how far you need to watch it, of what we're doing for today, but I'll constantly reference that video. Let's go to the board. All right, let's go to the board. So, trigonometry. Coming up this week, or next week, I think, actually. I've adjusted things a little bit. You need to make sure you have a calculator that has those buttons on it. I've already said that, but sine, cosine, tangent. That is what we are determining how we're going to use trig. So you got to have a trig calculator. Said that multiple times. And one of the most important topics in math is trigonometry. So let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be short and sweet, guys. Because it's just the basics, but it's like the most important thing, because if you don't know how to do it, I'm going to teach you now. It's not hard, but if you don't know it, it's impossible to do trig. It's like the feet of trigonometry. If you don't have any feet, you really can't walk very well. So let's go ahead and do this. So I sent you this paper, the half sheet. Those are like your notes. We're going to focus on the stuff in orange. And I gave you some, did you know information on where trigonometry came from the Greeks. So that's that. So we're just going to focus on the stuff that I highlighted in orange today. So let's look on the left side of your screen here. And whenever you do trig, first of all, trig, guys, it only works at this stage of the game in right triangles, right? So you need to have a right angle, which I have in all 3 of these triangles on the board right now. And they have to also give you a reference angle to reference. That's why they call it a reference angle. All right, so this right here in purple, that is my reference angle. X degrees, okay? And it can be anywhere. All right, it's either going to be that angle as a reference angle or over there, right? The 90 degrees is not really ever going to be your reference angle because it's always got to be a right triangle, okay? So Whatever I give you, that's your reference angle. So that's the what we need to pay attention to. And that's what this note says right there. Okay, so then after that, as long as you know where the reference angle is, so it's x degrees, and it could be any variable, guys. It could be a degrees, w degrees, anything. We all know that variables change, right? They can be anything. They just represent a numerical value. So I color-coded these to help us understand where they located. And it's pretty self-explanatory. O in green, and the reason I'm telling you guys this is because eventually, if you see over here, if you go back, it says SOHCAHTOA, right? That's going to be like your best friend, SOHCAHTOA. And we got to know what all these letters mean, all right? Because trigonometry is just a ratio. Okay, so you need to know what O, H, and A means. Otherwise, SOHCAHTOA means nothing to you. And again, I don't really care. You don't need to know SOHCAHTOA today. That's next class. So right now, to prepare you for that, you need to know opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. Because you're going to see O, A, and H literally all the time. Okay? So, without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and label it. The opposite side is in green. So you'll notice I go to my reference angle, and that's why this is a green line, because the side that is opposite of that angle is right there. So I labeled it as O. Pretty simple. Now we know the hypotenuse. I skipped adjacent, right? Because O and H are the easiest. In fact, hypotenuse, I probably should have started with hypotenuse. We all know the hypotenuse is the longest side of a right triangle. Okay, so it's in red. So I put my hypotenuse in red. It's always the longest side. It's always across from the 90-degree angle. Boom, so I'm done with the hypotenuse. And then typically people always find the opposite side next, which I've already done. And then the last one is the adjacent side. Now, if you recall from the very beginning of the school year with chapter 1, we talked about what adjacent means in math. Or just in general. And adjacent means directly next to, right? So here's my angle. My reference angle is x. And technically, we have two sides that are next to that angle and making that angle. It's the hypotenuse and this side. But we've already used the hypotenuse, right? That's why you want to label the h first, all right, and label the hypotenuse, because then, by default, that is your adjacent side. All right, so this is my adjacent side because it is right next to that angle, okay? So then we have it labeled as O, A, and H. If you know that, guys, trigonometry is going to be so easy for you. But if you get this messed up, it's going to be extremely difficult for you. Okay, so that's the gist of what today's lesson is. All right, and just to point out of why the reference angle is so important, because if I moved this purple X over here, all right, so let's say I did that. All right, let's say I did this and moved this as my X, and it's no longer here. All right, so if this is my X degrees now, what changes? The O and the A, the opposite side and the adjacent side. Right? That's why you have to pay attention to that reference angle, and it's so important. The hypotenuse is locked in. The hypotenuse is always the same no matter what. All right, but if the reference angle changes to this one instead of this one, then suddenly this turns into your opposite side, and then this turns into your adjacent side. So these can kind of switch, I guess, but it only depends on what angle I provide for you, and hopefully that makes sense. So let's go ahead and do some examples over here on the other side of the board. So example 1, and this is this paper that I've given you right here. All right, it's got 10 problems on it. I'm going to do the first 2 with you. If we were in class, I'd be doing this in class. This would be a class work activity. Okay, but I'm just going to trust that I'm going to do the first 2 with you, and then I'm going to trust that you finish the rest of it. Okay, so number 1. Here's my triangle. I've got triangle X, Z, Y. And here is my reference angle. Okay, so using the notes, I'm going to label the hypotenuse. right? Here's my 9-degree angle. It looks a little weird of a triangle, but here's my 9-degree angle, so that means the opposite longest side is right there. So that's my hypotenuse. So then I got to find the opposite. Opposite is normally the easiest one after the hypotenuse. So boom, across there, that's my opposite. So then naturally, by default, this is the label of my adjacent side. Okay, so I've got O, A, and H for all of those. You don't need to write it all out if you don't want to. As long as it makes sense to you, I'm a happy person. And then number two. Let's label the hypotenuse first. Here's my 9-degree angle. Hypotenuse. And now I got to look at the opposite side. In green is the color I am choosing to use. That's my reference angle. Boom. So that means TS is my opposite side. And then naturally, by default, once again, my adjacent side is going to be side TR. All right, so I have labeled O, A, and H on the first two examples, and usually that's pretty easy for everybody. So your job is to go ahead and finish the remaining 8 problems. Okay, be careful on number 9 because the triangle in that picture is upside down, and people oftentimes mislabel the hypotenuse. Okay, so just be careful with that. But if you understand that, guys, that's the lesson for today. So that's pretty simple. So quiz, that video, you're done. All right, so that's the class lesson, and then of course the homework is on Desmos. Okay, so Desmos, make sure you check your emails again. You're doing a good job overall of doing that. So the homework is a Desmos activity again, and that's going to be due at 10 o'clock the night before next class. Okay, so make sure you have that done. It's just identifying opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. Okay, so it shouldn't take you too long with that, and the majority of them are multiple choice slides anyway, so it shouldn't be too hard for you. So make sure you do that. I gave you the class code on the Student Desmos website on your email as well. Okay, so again, I'm trying to be as organized as I can to help you not be confused at all with my class. And like I said, the feedback continues to be pretty good. So hopefully it is for you as well. And if it's not, please ask me. I will help you. But yeah, that's the lesson for today, guys. Trigonometry day number 1 is in the books. We'll just wrap it up at that. Go Cavs. God bless. And keep it real, everybody. I miss you and I love you as always.